whatever it is, wherever you are. We're still copying here, although it seems to have gotten past the worst of the stuff. It seems to mostly slow down on a per file basis, then the large files end up working out a bit better. So we've got to try and test for and track down why we can't do search object hatchet. I use person search much. I still got to kind of use some better methods for doing that, perhaps. I want to do name overlay in a nice way. So that might be a bigger project than I want to take on. Maybe hooking into the Open Life launcher. I don't know how many people actually use it. All right. So you are there. So I believe your data version is 331. We have our settings from here. We should be done with that one. Let's make sure everything's compiling nice. Oh, what account was I on last? Email. Okay, we were on the one that was configured for VOG. I guess I can check that I'm actually reproducing the hatchet thing. I don't know that I ever had a hatchet here. I was doing a lot of kindling at one point. Okay. Yeah. It does not find that item. Oh, that's right. You have to touch anything for all this stuff to go off. But we are not getting a pointer to it. Oh, that's interesting. It activated the tool setup. So that's an interesting little situation. So what do we do when we look up an item name? Oop, that was too many files. We're doing something with sought object. Last hint filter string, delete our sought objects. Search objects. I was printing hit in the log. So that actually should have probably been removed. So we hit a 71 once. Is it just /71? Yeah. It is indeed a stone hatchet. I wonder if I'm not doing uses properly, although it's worked pretty well for shovels. Now, this only happened once. Okay, so those don't get sent. So is the problem that we are not... Maybe if I search for it again, it didn't technically change. Or maybe there's a limit with how many hits we can do. Now, is it possible something's happening to the string? Oh, I'm not necessarily on the right patch right now. I guess I can always stash and go back. I also need to figure out what exactly what item this is and why we're not finding it. Hits 1, remaining 0. So my find in map might need to do... Well, no. Get object parent. Nope. 0 is a valid index. So apparently when I was searching for shovels, the shovel I was interested in was not the first item. No, that says less than or equal to 0. Yeah, that's an index. So 0 is a valid index, and like nothing else I was testing happened to have the actual item I cared about as the first index. No, that did not do it. Oh, the other hatchet. Oh, I went down that way, and there was another hatchet there. So I was still close to the closest one. It's kind of weird that it was selecting this one, but... So that may have been confusing me a little bit. All right. That's a different search. Probably going to be easier. Even though there are other ways. Oh, or maybe I should just learn how to do it. STG refresh dash P. It was refresh. Yeah, I guess refresh temp was how it's an internal management thing. Now, I don't think there was anything else I really needed to worry about in the code changes. Oh, yeah. Use count. Okay. Well, I mean, that does open up some interesting possibilities for number things. But that wasn't any real code change. All right, so that was thankfully not too hard to sort out. So name stuff is going to be kind of hard to manage. In the test environment, I'll have to get into multiple people. I just have a lot of trouble tracking. You know, if somebody asks me for something, oh, who was that? Or... yeah, I don't even know if the launcher is really a thing anymore. I guess I could see if it's had updates. Or was that just actually in open life? Because I thought that was supposed to be the client. Yeah. Okay, that's actually true settings. What was the client setup. This wasn't it. Or maybe it was assets. Yeah. But I think... Oh, nope. Doesn't seem like there's been a whole lot of... Okay, so I guess that's the order of them. -1 is not present? Okay, yeah, Linux Windows. I guess technically, if I just had the build... there's the other problem. I don't necessarily have like a good in-game screenshot. I also don't know if Milkweed's really a going thing. No, not the PNG. I've not heard much about it lately. Oh, pfft. Yeah, that does not seem promising. Yeah, the fact that it's still in here means that this actually is probably slightly dead. I might just have to ask him about that. So what would we actually do for names? Oh, I should checkpoint this. Oh, that's right. These berry bushes don't come back at all. Well, that's not... Yeah, I can vlog in food. That's not a big deal. I do need 2 people. To be thinking about this. Wait. That's interesting. Seems like I had that the other day too, and I don't know. Because, I mean, naming works in the regular game. My last names worked. I wonder, is it possible that the first name list got messed up on my server somehow? Because I just don't do that very often. So that's actually going to be really terrible for testing names. And I guess you can see the other side. So we've got speech. Which does that kind of thing. There's a whole bunch of logic there in order to stay on screen. Otherwise, it tracks pretty good. So how does speech work? I know Jason's been like having people speak things to avoid having to redo anything similar. Current speech. Speech is successful curse. Fade time. Learn their family status, but don't make them say family because they have a current speech bubble. It's the first space thing again. This is in step. Step, step, step. Okay, there's all the special messages. We get the message from the server. New speech. Display their curse tag. Update positions for moving objects. Well, this isn't necessarily a player position. $15 seconds. Check if we have an arrow. But it does seem to be doing position management. Okay, so there's the family thing. So this must be the command handler. Temp home location. Oh, there's a speakers. Now here's draw. Draw chalk background. So at this point, we've already figured out speech pause. So we've got speakers and speakers pause. Oh my gosh. There's a special thing from Draw a Live Object to get speaker positions. Oh no, you're this thing's Draw a Live Object. Wiggle towards target. Right, so this is where I was overdrawing. This is where I was adjusting the position for shiver. If you're being held, badges. All the layers of drawing. Nope. Speakers pause. Okay, so that was a baby. Where's held pause in this? Baby held pause. Right, their speech doesn't necessarily wiggle if they wiggle, do they? This is probably for a standard object. Impute held draw pause, person pause. Okay, this is where we added shiver to it. Let's see. Yeah, it can only wiggle as a very young baby, so that's not an easy thing to test. So this is accounting for action offset for shiver. But if this is just the position of the speaker, then it's a fixed offset from there. Head pause, body pause, front foot pause. head pause, speech pause plus equal head pause. So it is trying to move that over the head. And body and front foot is used in head calculations. And then that's location speech. And then this is the actual text. Yeah, so the awkward thing is we need something like chalk background string. Which, how does that background work? Blot. Sickish yellow. Okay, so that's draw color. Draw square. And there's a mask only. Mini chalk blots. What is draw square? Draw sprite. M chalk blot sprite. What is that? Chalk blot. Okay, so this is like some kind of mask? Might be using certain graphics modes here. Double hit vertically. Okay, so that would whiten it up. Wait, +5, -10. Randomly rotate. And actually, he double drew it here. So let me guess, this is going to be the actual text. Yeah, handwriting font. So am I understanding this right? Yep, well, didn't change character in time. And this might be 2 as an Eve. Yeah, maybe he started with this and then decided to clamp down on her to make it more significant. Hmm. Yeah, it does make it harder to read. But maybe I could use that to differentiate it from speech. The other thing that I'd kind of like to do would be kind of like a label with a pointer line. But I don't know how to do that, like in his style. I mean, short of like grabbing an arm or something, which is digging into the data again. I guess you could have a thing for what sprite that is, or you'd have to ship a required sprite file. You could maybe take a selection out of cell border. And there's cell fill, which looks like it's kind of similar to chalk. Yeah, cell fill, if you did any sub-selection of it, would still have kind of a hard edge to it. Floor split. That might do it. I mean, the other thing would be this kind of thing. I don't know if any of these are actually like full edge. Most of them are designed to go off the screen. Oh, there's also a path mark. You'd have to kind of stretch it out, though. You could use an arrow. This is Bob. So what was that? Well, it's got a little bit of a irregularity to it. I don't know if it's going to be quite a good line. And it's probably going to have like rotation artifacts. I mean, really you'd want to have probably a dedicated graphic for it. But we've got a graphic for it. All right, so I had modified some code just to understand what that was doing. So I'm probably going to want to copy this. Force min chalk blots. Probably one character of text, so they just perfectly cover this line. I guess if it wants to create some certain number of space. What is that number used for? In speaker, Force blot color, force text color, fade, maximum width. That looks like the minimum size. Oh, maybe that's pixels? Because that's... I'm not actually seeing bang bang. And that appears to be like an optional parameter even. Max width in speaker. I might need that later, we'll come back to it. So working on Neo. Maybe name labels. I never saved that correction. Static image. This has something to do with how he does it. So I think what we want to do is we want to take this. Now I could try to add more options, but it's already pretty complicated. Is this... I may have gone outside the function here. Oh, this is a member function, so we're going to have to do that. Yep. I need to be on... $291. Can I do it from here? No, that goes to the bracket. Now technically I don't need in-string here because the string, if we've got a live object, and this is why I don't like doing aligned stuff, because something comes along and changes it. It'll be simpler to stick with it for now. Would I ever fade this out? I think I just don't want to mess with that. Oh, I'm not actually sure if the name is uppercase. Okay, so here's your top and bottom correction. Oh, it actually gets the position. So that's probably from the speaker's pause array, which we have to work out how we do that. So this is only a small piece of it, actually. But so that's calculating the ideal position. This is calculating the actual on-screen position, which might end up overlapping text if once you do those corrections. Not equal to null. Dying, wounded, curse. Saving speech color. This is a saving speech. Yeah, so this is something else he's doing. And I don't know if I'm actually going to need this. Well, okay, so we rotate that initial one a little bit. They perfectly covered this line. And we were thinking that we could differentiate this by not doing all this stuff. Okay, so blah, 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 blah. None of that. We said these were false. If color only, if mask only. Speech color image. This might be part of that. Oh, draw name label. Okay, part of that saving speech thing. This is some of the stuff I saw, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Oh, and white space cleanup, because it's going to show up in my diff. That trick doesn't work for you, for the line-by-line case. I guess I could de-indent the space. All right, you're gonna have to be in the header file. Oh, in speaker is optional. Okay. Or in that it's optional. Oh, right, because it's probably used for location speech. Actually, do I need that? If we've already gotten the name. I do not need that. Well, I might leave it for now just in case we want to do anything with that, because I do have to deal with the pointer. But maybe that will be kind of like we make that the position and then tweak it. All right, now I have to figure out what to call this. And I will do that in a few minutes. Oh. Again? So maybe it's an accident every time my mom is killed.
Oh my god, dude. Scalzi would just poop his shorts. He would... He'd be like, oh my god, you guys have a bird spawner. That is so awesome. I have to tweet Todd Howard about this. Look at you. Look at you. You think about death while you're dead. There's my Scalzi impression for the night. I hope he's not offended by that. You float to the surface and you die, bird. You die, bird. Morty. Morty, we need to kill the birds, Morty. It's the thing we need to do, Morty. Morty, we need to kill the birds, Morty. I opened the door, Morty. I accidentally opened the door, Morty. You gotta shut the door, Morty.
Now she's.
Okay, not yet. So we don't need this option phase. Because the AI scripts and stills will handle all that. So we don't need any buttons. Or the mouse. Still need this.
And we're back. So draw chalk background. Now the problem is that this is probably using speakers. So where are you? What are you? Okay, so that's the Bang Bangs. Speech pause. So that's probably only doing that for speakers. If current speech. Yeah, so in order to get those positions, with all their adjustments, you kind of need to have a separate thing. Well, or you have to redo all of the logic to do an object's position. And he might be doing that so that the server is mediating the distance that you hear speech at. And then he's always drawing it. So for me to do an on-screen thing, I really want to know if you're close. Well, we might have to cross that when we get there. So we're eventually going to want to track named characters. For now, yeah, so this is actually drawing it with the calculated position. You see, I almost want to write this as a two-pass thing that calculates the position, and then you can draw all the stuff associated with it. But that's a pretty big change. So we've got a member object, draw a live object that takes the in speakers. Is speakers and speakers pause like local to the draw function or something? Ah, okay. Well, I don't want to draw them twice, and it does end up being something different. So to start off with, in a very limited environment, we can just record everything and then worry about filtering it down. That's the head offset. I think I might actually want to be pointing at the body for this. So this needs the actual object, even if the text draw thing doesn't necessarily need the object. I'm really starting to wonder if like last draw pause wouldn't be a useful thing to store. Because draw live object now has to have named and name pause, which has and living life page.h has to be adjusted to that. It's like if we just had the positions of all the objects after the fact, you could just go through and check the current speech. Oh, maybe this is also counting on the in-frame filtering from the draw. All right. Now we need to know about living object. Or is it live object? So for now, we'll just do anything that is named. Living life page, live object. And we're eventually going to want to get a little bit more precise about that. All right, speaker pause, speakers pause. So we get all that stuff, speakers.size. Probably would want that under speech, that's location speech. Display object, I might not need age. I guess I can leave some of this stuff around for the moment until we decide what we want, but I actually think we want body pause. Right, because it resets speech pause every time. And this is just... Can we just do this? Object, current speech. Okay, it was name. And we don't have a fade for this. Measure string O current speech. I can maybe use the parameter 2. All right, so this is not going to be in the right position. I can start working some initial kinks out here. A couple of typos. Hmm? I'm at 83. 6383. Indian pass. This will currently apply to yourself. Okay. I actually don't know why it's... Oh, because it's body position instead of head position. That's why. That would be on top of all my other head markers currently. Right now, and I could probably actually see that. Well, no, actually with screen lock I could. The draw name, or the text drawing function is responsible for the screen space corrections. Which is pretty much just limiting it, but... No, can't see it down that well. So we're just doing up. We're not concerned about screen space. I almost want to... Wait. Are you doing... You're doing the plus 84. I actually think I don't want to do that here. Okay, so here's the other thing. This is doing the width correction. But it's passing width limit, not width. Why is it reassigning width here anyway? You aren't using it. Oh, it's using it for this. Okay. And yet draw label is doing screen space corrections. Get font height. That's why. Widest line. Yeah. So this is treating it as the left edge is our in pause, which is kind of not what we want all over the place. But that's where the handwriting stuff all all draws itself. Because a lot of the drawing stuff is actually center-based, so I guess for text it sort of makes sense, because you've got character positioning. And we're going to have widest line, so we can do some corrections there. So we would actually do that before here. Huh. Well, let's see, the other thing is passing the position to us. So if we're on this side, we want to go... If we're on the left side, we want to go over... and probably something else. Else we want to be on the other side of it. Oh, yeah. Well, this won't apply to yourself normally. I might need to do something to have it move as it goes, though. Let's see, we want... So this is going to... So we're going to have our in pause. That's going to be where our line points to. And actually, getting that graphic to actually point is going to be quite the interesting adventure. Do we actually use in pause? No, it's all first line. So it was 84 before. I don't think maybe I want it up that much, just over? Oh, and we want this to be over something. I'm not sure how wide a character is. I mean, I guess they're... Well, it's the tiles 128. That's probably like... maybe a quarter tile? Maybe still a little bit close. Apparently I can interrupt with stuff in lock mode. I forgot about that. Alright. So you are floor split. And there are offsets within here. I don't know why this is so tall. This is 256. So actually we can probably count on this being 50% larger on either side. And probably right around the center of a 32. I was supposed to do some math here. Yeah, our position is going to be a problem here. We'll start with the text pause. Oh. The in pause is actually going to be the player pause. So we want O. And then we do first line. But you're doing the up. Because I kind of am up. But that's... We have two positions. We have the in pause is going to be our body position, and we've got like our label position. I guess our in pause is pretty much our target pause. But I'd like to be clear about that. The first line ends up taking over a lot of it. Well, no, there's in pause.y. It could have been text pause. Okay. So that will be what we're pointing at. That's our, that is... Now you see, then we're adjusting first line. So I kind of want to do, and we can adjust this further. Oh yeah, you're just in equals. Oops. Last line Y. That's only to calculate this locally. All right. So we want to, that's going to be a scaling and a rotation. Well, let's start with just getting the graphic drawn. Position adjustment, you're going to have your different drawing settings. if M floor split sprite just pick one for now. And we're actually going to need some different formats of draw sprite. So we're going to need to control angle and scale. Okay, and that is not, oh, right, I'm not, oh, the target pause is target pause. Right, because it was offset by half, so I need to do the half adjustment. To actually get my target position. So that's not the same thing that you're using. So you were capturing for the centering purposes. Oh, you're not a width limit isn't a parameter. It's just a thing we do to the string. So technically, this would get done to both. Well, no, because we want that to be the body position, period. And then this, there's the text position. And we offset you. This is just going to be the text in here in string. It's a slightly different centering method than what's used for the other stuff. All right, now is our target position actually on the character. And I think this is graphics just by center. Oh, right, we were calculating that and passing it through, which means in max width was used for the split lines. You get lines. It's in string. Wait. So it doesn't force uppercase. Right, so that was the full string before. Well, we don't delete in string. But technically, we would use that. And then you don't actually have this as an argument. Width limit. That's the H file. Draw name label. Unused variable. Oh, width limit was just, it wasn't width, it was width limit. So this is just where you configure that stuff, I guess. So that's not full width. Full width is that. Width is width limit. Delete lines. Oh, this was part of that. Okay, so that seems to have about the right position. I probably may want to bump the target position, though. Otherwise, I'm going to be pointing right at the crotch. Okay, so that needs there. A little bit up to get center of body. I'll have to see how that works later. All right, so right now this is there. It's going to rotate around there. So what place we need to, the place we need to draw it is going to be the center. I guess target pos.x plus. All right, so if that's my baseline, and the label is currently on the right, we want to, that will be an add. So the label is going to have the higher coordinates. So we want label pos minus target pos. Actually, I know there's a way to add vectors. I don't know if there's a built-in midpoint. Another way to subtract vectors is just add. Yeah, add molt. You could do molt -1. Yeah, sub. That's what I was missing. Molt. All right, so first of all, did we get the position correct? No. Okay, we're misbalanced. Ooh, yeah, we're misbalanced. Uh, okay, no, that doesn't seem right. Oh, because it's yeah, because I haven't corrected for this being the left corner here. So we're eventually gonna want to get this aiming at the center of this. So actually, it's label pause plus. Hmm. So we actually take that and calculate it from our target. Then we do all our other adjustments to see where it's actually drawn. So if I did this, because it's a midpoint, they have to halfway back, but we're going to the midpoint. Well, no, I really need that for the label itself. And label pause dot x is looking at all this stuff, which is assuming that positioning. Dot x. Yeah, that might actually be right. All right, so I need other versions of Draw Sprite. Is that scale and rotation? It might be in degrees. Oh, I actually am going to need the distance vector. Okay. Yeah, so that didn't seem to affect rotation very much, so I think it's degrees. I actually do need this distance vector. Distance, is there a handy function for that? Length vector. Draw name, label. So then the double len of that is and this thing is 128, it's 256 over 128 line offset. All right, I actually don't need this yet. I need to calculate the angle of a line. I know there was a thing for the arrows. Arrow index. Get arrow index, which I might have actually extracted from that. So there's a vector. We can calculate an angle of it. So that's realigning based on that setup. We've got m pi. Wait, so does... Well, it's all relative to m pi, so the units wouldn't matter, I guess. So I think angle, we start with angle and see what that does. Okay, that does not do the right thing. Like that, this side is almost the right thing. That side is very, very wrong. So this might be different units. I don't even think I'd get that much if it was that simple, but I probably just have to print this out to kind of get a sense of what it is. Oh, nope. That is actually it. Or maybe mpi times 2 would have done it. I don't know what mpi is. Pi is pi. Yeah, operating in 3 units wouldn't work. All right, so sprites need 360. Angle is radians, I guess. And then to size it, we have the length of the vector. I guess the scale is going to be against 128. But is it len divided by 128 or 180 divided by len? Well, if we've got a teeny tiny line, we need to get a teeny tiny result. Oh, it might actually have to be 256 for the entire graphic. Well, actually, the pointer to her is good. And actually, if that's like the center of the label, and like the draw text is offset, then I actually need to offset that target pointer down to get it going correctly. I think I want to bring up the line to the character short too, which is going to require some tweaking. Maybe I actually kind of want the last line. Well, the names shouldn't generally be too big. How much are we moving lines by? There's a line spacing. Now, the target pause is affected by probably this 32. Ish. Okay, 32 is too much. It's definitely more like 16. For some reason, I read waistline instead of whitest line there. Wow, I like got that horrifically backwards. What did I do? If I have something that's working great and then it breaks and you have no idea why. I tried doing that recently too. Okay, so that, whoa. Okay, we've got some singularity problems there. Oop. Might want to sort that out. Oh dear. Yeah, it must be like kind of fighting with the up and down. So why does... And maybe I'm getting these angles right by accident. Why does moving this down mess us up so much? Maybe that's like too much. Just now it's pointing at this, and then I don't know why. What's up with that though? What the heck was line spacing? Get font height divided by 2 plus 5. I mean, that sounds like it should be a good number. Sounds like it. Wow, that's like... It's up a lot. From doing a -1. Oh, maybe I'm not even... No, if the scale should have been going up if the line was like going way off into orbit. So maybe my angle was like accidentally working? And that would explain maybe why this went crazy, because it was kind of going, yeah! And multiplying... Alright, we've got to print this. I should probably look at my line too. So probably this is not the solution. Because something is looking really goofy right now. Did you stop? Okay, we got a new person. Oh, and well, this is just automatically. Well, the last one we looked at was pretty bad. All right, so that gave us a few samples. It's really only going to be two things, I guess. Wait, I should have had two versions of that. Because we flipped sides. Yeah, -2. So we've got a 2.67 versus a 0.46. That seems more like radians. I don't know what the angle base is. Oh, maybe rot is 0.1. Because that's just a random double. Which is probably a 0.1. Which, if that's radians, I might have to look around for other uses of angle to see if he ever uses that in a draw rotation anywhere. And he may have not cared too much about the units for the random rotation of the blots, because it's mostly just kind of mix it up a little bit. So I might have to look for other examples of draw sprite with an angle. Okay, that seems like more like a reasonable angle. It's still shooting way off the top, though. Also, this is behaving... Well, it's not wigging out. It's also, and I would say, a correct position. Let's see if we can get a run going. Yeah. Can go a little bit off the top, but there's a bunch of stuff there, so it's hard to see. That seems like, maybe my scale is off too. But it's not wigging out anymore. That's a start. I would not necessarily call that correct behavior. In fact, it seems almost like it's rotating the wrong way. So this could be a 0 point issue in terms of where radians and straight up rotations go. So it's like that was more behaved, but it's still not very well behaved. I don't know that he ever does. Oh, well, there's a draw sprite. Ah, negative angle plus 0.25. It was, in fact, going backwards. And it somehow, those happened to line up. Okay, yeah, so it was very different angles. Now our offsets will hopefully actually make sense. And we were trying to move off of the character, which we had kind of had nonsense results because our angles were all messed up. They just happened to look okay. Yeah, we could actually back off from the body a little bit. I don't know, 32 might be too much. It's kind of okay. It's like I don't want it too high. Okay, let's get goes up as we do multiple lines. So I might be able to tolerate going a bit higher. And we'll have to work on who we show this for. Having some either positional memory or some fade would be nice as well. All right, so we wanted to move the label up a little bit. So we actually did the 84. That may have been from head pause, though. And 28 is the entire tile. That might be about where it's at. Now I could also see about trying to get the line to go to nearest edge. Okay, that's a little bit close to the text. Although it could kind of give you the impression of this character says... So could I arrange? I've been using label pointers so far. So I can go from a start position to the center easy enough. I would have to be aware of which side it's on to do like a separate like anchor position. And since we move the label, well, we know where target position is. Although we kind of moved target position too. So I almost want to say that we should be separating our real target position. Yeah, now you see, this should probably be based on where the target position is. We move both of those. But then we adjust target position. Wait. That's working. The X offsets are also feeding backwards all of a sudden? Because it's saying if it's less than the center, we're going to move it closer to the center? And yet they moved the right direction. If we're less than center, add. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Now we're moving the label position over. But if we're right near the edge, that thing would actually push us over, and then we would not have that as... I guess I could look at in pause for like our original left-right. But there's a place where we draw the text. And there is the anchor for the text. So if I do it on, if I just do it up here, then I have to duplicate the label pause a whole bunch. So label pause, label pause, label pause. They want it to be very much based on label pause. You see, this is label center. So really, if we make this not label center, but like anchor, So that was going to center. So if inpos.x is less than last screen view center, then I think we may actually do nothing. So we'll reverse that if that turns out to be true. Well, I guess I could also compare label pause to target pause. But really, I care about the left-right. Oh. Yeah, I should probably tweak that in a little bit here. Where'd my pies go? Yeah, find more bear gracious. So that one could move in a little bit. What does it feel? I guess they lean in a little bit while walking. And that could move out a little bit. About 28. And so let's do greater than... no, I do need to adjust both. Actually, maybe that is plus. I think we're for there. We're going to move in a little bit. Yep. Well, the visibility is going to depend a little bit on, like, if you're wearing a backpack, that's to be in the middle of the backpack. So that doesn't look too bad. I guess I could do it the way the character is facing. And then I just have to have exceptions for which side of the screen you're on, or for edges of the screen. I guess edge of the screen, there's already some control of that. Oop. I'm wondering if maybe I should have the target point up a little bit. It'll get lost in the hair a lot. And then, of course, maybe if you're pointing at the head, then I would have to care about the head pause. So I think I've still got that code in there. I haven't actually removed it yet. But that long line definitely doesn't look great. So my target pause, I offset. Well, I guess since I'm moving up here, let's put these together. Oh, that. Well, yeah, when you're walking forward, it kind of leans into it. Ended up right around the neck. Oh, it also, because we're. Yeah. Because we're using scaling, that just makes it a smaller line. Now, really, you'd probably want to. Really, what you'd probably want to do is figure out a line, like, to the center, and then sort of truncate a certain amount of distance away, and then actually go to that point. Which actually, I guess I could just. I'm using the length in a scaling operation. So if you adjust the length, well, then you also have to adjust the center. Which I guess that's just applying some percentage of that vector. Which actually means you actually want to be basing it on this point instead of the center point if you're offsetting there. But yeah, I think it would actually end up looking better if we were pointing at the center, and then if you went up here, it would still be doing that. I could probably do that for this too. Point at, well, I still kind of like it being offset a bit versus pointing at the center of this. Truncating it would come in here a little bit, but that's going to be a little bit hairier on the math side. Because we're going to want to point at the center of both and then subtract some length for our sort of exclusion zone. So target pause can be up. Not going to be up that much, though. We're going to be more like a 32. And we're not going to offset the X. So what we're eventually going to do is pull the line in a little bit. And this is actually going to be a little bit off too, because if we wanted to be pointing at, we wouldn't be moving down per se. We would be probably a little bit farther in, but still offset. Okay, so that gives you... Oh, that's... Well, player's over here, that sort of works. It's like completely behind the... Oh, it's actually... That's actually too close. Oh, Yeah, so we need to... Probably that line size might be okay if we offset. You see, that's target position. We are adding a scale to the target position. So that's the amount towards my other spot. I don't know if that's going to have the right mathematical effect. Because the offset's going to vary with the amount of difference. Rather than kind of being at this point on like a ring around the character. That's okay. That's about where it was. It disappears easily. Oop. Which wasn't exactly the effect I wanted. Well, it also becomes very, very small. So other than having it fade out, to do that, to make that work, I'd have to figure out a way to truncate the draw rather than just scaling it. I don't know if I can think of anything that does that in the current... Anything I could use as an example of how that works. Really? So this is actually a sprite bank thing. All right, because it's draw sprite, which is probably doing some underlying... Or maybe it's just not called the file called sprite. Okay, it's not sprite bank. Okay, font.cpp, game graphics. So we've got zoom, rotation, flip, corner colors, right is stretched. Yeah. Zoom, rotation, flip. I think he's sometimes done some stuff with stencil. But I've not used it or looked at it much. whenever a stray is drawn. So I'd have to see if I could draw the appropriate quad into a stencil buffer. And I think this is used in some of the highlight stuff. Start adding to stencil. Start drawing through stencil. Stop stencil. So false must not be, so it always starts. Start drawing through stencil is something else. Oh, it's like invert. Now, how about wait, what's a scissor? That might be a yeah, I don't know if that would be affected by rotation. Fill sprite. Game graphics. Now I know there's like a way like he like fills the screen. So there has to be some way to do like a rectangle type thing. Draw triangles color. Well, there's that. Draw quads. But well, vertices. So you could work out the math yourself. Let's draw a live object. Draw. Now, maybe the game engine does the fill for you. Draw square. Oh. Or maybe that's a support library that uses game graphics? Animation bank. Editor. These are all using it. Regenerate caches. That might be... yeah, that's dummy defining it. Generate video test map. Draw rect at these four corners. Draw utils. And that's just XY. Actually, a circle would kind of accomplish what I want. And I have to work out the center position. All right, draw name label. This might actually be a bad time to checkpoint. Oh, I've still got when these are shown to do. Which is like actually a fair amount of stuff. So we've got named. How do we detect who's the player object? So this is get our name. Well, we need to get our live object, our ID, which must be a in object ID. Okay. Now this is actually something. I just have to maybe turn this off for. It's probably the last thing to do. Live object. He's throwing some other stuff kind of in here. So there are a number of conditions I eventually want to do for this. The simple one is, can we get it to work on hover? I was looking if there was a way to, or maybe it's dot name equals. No, dot name. Yeah. And then we would see the easy way to do this is if we have ever hovered over. mcur mouse over person. There's going to be some place that we look over get relation name. Relation names, that's for grave info. Other relation name. Oh, that's actually assigning a relation name to the person for like a new, okay, so that's actually assigned once up front. So we're actually going to use relation name if we go to draw that. Des. Oh wait, that's drink. If it's less than 0, it's a person. Des. Get live object, ID to describe. Last mouse over ID. And cur mouse over ID. Equals 99. If you hit clothing, hit slot index, that's under hit self, hit other person. But we've only got an ID right now. We don't have a person object. All right, curse over self. Any highlights? Greater than 0. Where was the less than? Oh, maybe we ended up using like last mouse over? Equals m curse. Yeah, missed it somewhere. Okay, it's food, I guess. Negative 99. I mean, that could technically happen during server start. You wouldn't get player ID 99. So now you've got an object. This will be a one place to handle the self thing versus 2 with the other thing. Do we have any other self detection? Oh, we already got a name check. If they're not, and it's a name. We eventually want some kind of light hover time on this. This would be for now. Make testing a little bit easier. Right, we're not checking the flag. Alright, I did not end up using head pause or front foot pause. Nope. I do need age. Because kids still grow up. Oh, I haven't actually been checking this against babies. So we've just been doing some content offsets. I might actually kind of need head position. Okay, that's just a U. Okay. That does not work. Other object named Des. What else do we... I may have found the wrong spot here. Is it not relation name? Grave info. Grave person. Grave. 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 Relation name equals null. Well, that was some curse over. We're in draw. Maybe I wasn't hitting that condition? Bad biome. Object. All the object stuff. Now that's other object. Maybe there is a special case for hover self? Okay. Oh. I guess it's 99 in that case? Well, I never want to actually do my own name, actually, so that actually sort of saves me a special case of doing this. And then we get set to put another player in. Yeah, I think my first name list must be busted. Okay, so it does work this way. Yeah, my server's first name list must be busted. Oh, yeah, and I do have a constant offset, including to this body center. So do I in fact need the head position to get that? Well, I was kind of positioning this to be like bottom of the head. So, shoot. Head pause. Body pause, head pause, head pause. That was the original adjustment. Oh no, all that stuff happens up here. Oh, or maybe that plus 84 was on top of head pause. So then draw a name label. We can't treat that as the body. I was aiming for like body center. So this might even turn into a negative here. Oh, and this 128, probably less than 84. There you are. Okay, we don't really have a line. It's a very, very small line because it's so close. But now I do need to see myself. Or an adult. Yeah, so the line is not great on kids. I wanted to redo that. I wanted some control over how many we saw. Yeah, you know what? That still had. We were going down here. So you have to subtract a little bit. How much? I don't know. That's probably too much. Oh, and I didn't check test text versus name position. It's going to be a little bit weird because I have to do this on two. That's a little bit higher than it used to be. They're both being limited. It'll probably work out. Yep, I have very, very little. So yeah, it's getting too faint now. So I think we want to look into the stencil or whatever. And we need to do better identification of who to show. And right now it would be any old Passover, which will happen which will happen kind of all the time. I don't necessarily have an easy way to check. Like your cursor has been here for such and such time. I would almost have to keep a copy of the hover text, or maybe just the ID to describe, and reset the timer every time ID to describe changed. And it's so tempting to just keep on going on, but at some point we have to stop. Let's see. Stencil with a circle. So we need hover, time, detection. We need player named detection, and I need to fix server name list. I apparently did not update that to the first and last name, or the male and female names, to copy those files over. But it's a start. I'll get that set up for me to try out today. It's going to be too much, but it will kind of give us a sense of how things work. That's it for me. I want to eat lunch and come back and actually play that. Thanks to all the people who support me, all the people who hosted me. Well, there might be something going on now. And then that's about when I'm usually on. He'll probably be wrapping up soon too. But what the heck is that? Looking for someplace cool to hang out. I think it's Aaron Vanderhaar is actually doing some Elm stuff, which is something I work on pretty regularly. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and let me actually get that up myself for now.